Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for attending today's live. I am Tim Miller. A little bit about me, if you haven't attended any of the other sessions previously, is I'm a physical therapist who transitioned from full-time clinician to full-time faculty member. So I had experience of kind of making that leap, and worked as a faculty member in full-time faculty member in physical therapy programs for almost over maybe 8 years, 9 years or so. And now I'm transitioned to my current role as Director of Strategic Distance Education for Rehab Essentials as an online educator for post-professional OT, post-professional PT, and entry-level PT as well, doing curricular and faculty development and faculty coaching and all of those types of things. So just wanted, give you a little bit of my background and, one of the things that I really just enjoy working with is, coaching faculty members in terms of learning how to become a faculty member, because that is something that, I went through that experience, and it can be, very challenging, and it's really important, I think, to have someone who has been there to help you along that way. So, yeah. So, if you've recently entered the world of academia, transitioning from the clinic to a faculty role is really exciting. And as with any new experience, it can be a big adjustment. And one of the biggest adjustments in the topic of today is time management. So, time management in an academic role is completely different than time management in a clinical role. The clinic is extremely structured, no matter what setting you're in. It's very structured, whereas academics can feel as though it's just sort of wide open or unstructured, and compared to the clinic, if we're comparing the two. So that strict regimented clinic schedule, and transitioning into the flexibility academic job is very wonderful. But it can be daunting and definitely requires thoughtful planning to adjust and ensure good time management. Academic positions feel as though, especially at first, that you have all the time in the world, but at the same time, not enough time to get what you want to get done. So I want to, today briefly share why that is and the pitfalls to avoid. So when I first started teaching, I was very fortunate and lucky that I was given, one course to build in an entire semester, so 15 plus weeks to build it. So I was given a really big runway to build the course. And I just remember thinking, wow, I got nothing to do for 4 months but work on this course. Like, I got all the time in the world. So, that freedom and space is great, but it can be overwhelming on how to best use that time to build out all the aspects of a course, which include, the outline, your lectures, assignments, assessments, the face-to-face, well, I say face-to-face because I taught in a hybrid program where the students weren't always there with us working, but lab time. So if you have hands-on components, what are you going to do during your lab time, and what skills do you need to go over there if you do have a course that has some psychomotor components? So, thinking about where to begin and how to best spend your time to make sure everything gets done is very challenging, especially with someone without prior experience, because it could just be, there's just so much to do. You may feel like you have a lot of time to do it, and then, okay, well, how do I best structure that, and how do I make sure I'm accomplishing what I need to and using the time well? So, and this can be even more daunting if you're not given such a long runway, like I was given initially at first. And this happened, as you are a faculty member as well, thinking, oh, well, can you take over this course? And you may only have, a couple of weeks or maybe a month. So I know of colleagues, that are people that I've worked with who are like, I just got this job. I'm really excited, but they want me to take over this 4 credit course that starts in a month. Where do I begin? So, and that sometimes happens even just it's no fault to anybody. It's just you're filling a position, they have a need, and you can't really pause the timer of the semesters and the progression of the program, especially with it being, with PT programs being those lockstep cohort based, okay, this is when this happens and we need somebody to teach it. So again, no matter if you have many months to prepare or only a few weeks, I want to just share a few pitfalls to avoid in thinking of your time management. So The biggest one that I always share is try not to make everything perfect. No course will ever be perfect. So don't set unrealistic expectations for yourself, and that you have to have this added pressure of everything about the course has to be perfect. Obviously, you're clearly capable and talented. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in the position that you have. So do your best. And I would say don't try to figure it out all on your own. Find a mentor who can help guide you on what's important to focus on and how to accomplish that, and how to kind of structure, okay, what is it that you need to do to prepare to make sure that you're going to have, um, a well thought out course. Um, Another pitfall is don't forget that this is entry level education, uh, and the students are not yet clinicians. So often faculty start from a place that they want to share everything there is to know about a certain topic or subject or whatever it may be in that course. So even though that may be well beyond entry level PT education, and well beyond the goals and intent of the course. So you can share your expertise without the expectations that students will gain that same expertise in the course of a semester in an entry-level program. So, don't forget what it's like to be a student who's never practiced before, or, those types of things. And, when you're creating content for your course, keeping that in mind, like, this is entry-level education. And, this doesn't mean that, you know, it doesn't mean you're not sharing your expertise. It's just, you need to kind of keep, those expectations in mind. And another thing, what I mean by that is it's easy to start working on, let's say, lectures for a certain topic of your course. You're doing your due diligence by reading the latest literature and textbooks on the topic. You yourself probably have some expertise in that topic. You're creating notes, building that lecture. And, next thing you know, you've done such a deep dive that you've been working on one single topic, and it's been, 2 weeks. And so you've spent 2 weeks, and that topic may only be one or two lectures, or a very small portion, or maybe a small portion of 1 week of what you have planned for that course. So the pitfall is really common, something to avoid. So if you kind of follow that pattern, you would need years to build a course, which obviously is not realistic as a faculty member. So just keeping in mind on what it is that you're trying to accomplish, and what are some really good ways. Are there other experts you can lean on? Are there other ways that you can think of, with the content delivery and synthesis and those types of things? So another pitfall is it's typically usually not possible to have your entire course fully built before the start of the semester. The goal is to be several weeks or maybe a month ahead of the students, but being able to create all of your lectures, your assignments, your assessments, your labs, if you have those, all before the start of the semester can be unrealistic. So you should have a solid outline and a plan for what you're going to build, and a schedule of how you're going to get that done. But the actual building and launching of it is typically ongoing throughout the semester. So I think that's another pitfall of thinking, oh man, even if you have 4 weeks to, let's say 15 weeks to plan it, thinking, okay, well, I'm going to build every single thing by day one. It's all done, and I just sort of let it run. You may be able to do that, but sometimes that pitfall of thinking of it all has to be done all at once, and then not doing any of it to you know to your expectations, could happen as well. So just, keep that in mind. Um, and the last one I'm going to share, and these aren't all of them, but spending too much time on only one aspect of what comprises a course. And what I mean by that is it's easy to spend all your time with, let's say, your lectures, and then forget about the assignments or assessments. Or it could be you're spending too much time on creating assignments and you're creating too many of them, and there's not enough time for the other components that make up the course. So really being mindful of everything that comprises a course, and knowing, okay, and make sure that they support one another, for the, to have engaging teaching and learning. So you have to be very aware and diligent about all aspects that are needed for the course, and how to use your time to make sure you're spending your time appropriately. Again, as I mentioned, there are other pitfalls, but I want to share just a few common examples. From my experience, I definitely experienced all of those. Those aren't the only ones, but those are the ones again, that, rise to the top in terms of thinking of my own experience and thinking of, faculty members that I've coached and worked with and, mentored and that type of thing. So, teaching is difficult, building a course is difficult, but they're exciting challenges and, ones that definitely require a different skill set than the one you had created by being an expert clinician. So, don't feel bad if it's like, man, this is hard, and it's okay. And as I said in previous live sessions, courses are more than just lectures, and teaching and learning require all aspects of the course to support one another. And what's the best way to think through planning that out, creating it, and those types of things. So knowing how to do this, both following best practices and how to save you time, is definitely where my expertise lies and where I've spent a lot of time helping and mentoring faculty in. I go into much more detail through within my one-on-one faculty mentoring program, Clinical Connections. So within the 6-month program, you get that one-on-one mentoring from faculty development sessions, which allows me to help you more specifically. And I would just say, most important for any faculty members having support is, I think, definitely that time saving. I've worked with so many faculty saying, "Here's what I have to do. I don't have enough time." And really thinking through, okay, well, let's unpack that a little bit. Why? What is it that you need to accomplish? What are things that you might be able to use that was previously used? Where are we starting from? And where do you need the help the most? Where do you feel like you're losing the most time, or what are different ways to think about building the different aspects of the course, and how do they support one another, and will make sure that the teaching and learning is engaging. It's a good experience for you as the faculty, and a good experience for the students, and you're meeting those objectives that are going to be so important for what that course is and how it fits within the curriculum of the program that you're teaching in. So, um, and again, I can provide, time-saving strategies, make sure you're using your time wisely to build your course, and all within that framework of best practices. So, time is the most important currency, I would say, as a faculty member. In my experience, there's simply not enough of it, especially when it comes to building and executing a course. So again, during one-on-one sessions, we cover anything that would be most helpful in terms of, what is it about building the course? Is it instructional design piece, or okay, I have this built, now how do I execute it in the learning management system? Or I have ideas for assignments. What are good ways that I can build build it, implement it, and make sure, and save you time, in that way. So if that's something that, you would like support or guidance in, send me a direct message. You can put teach in the comments below, and we can reach out with details of the faculty coaching program, and also, happy to answer any questions. So I hope you learned something new today. In the comments, you can put any aha moments or something, if there's anything that really stood out to you or something new you learned. As always, I want to thank you for watching, whether you're on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. And if you have any questions about anything that I talked about in this session, please feel free to message me or leave your questions in the comments. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.